So now that we have a good expanse of land flattened out very well, and ooh, apple, yum, my apple, and we still got mobs during the night, and everything is very scary as it usually is. We'll start building our house. Um, since the most available resources to me right now, since I haven't started mining really, or anything other than doing other things except for, oh my god, no. Oh, sprint's not working. Alright. By demons be driven back to your pits of hell. Now we will start making the outlines of our house, I guess, so. Let me get an idea in my head. The hell with it, let's just start building a wall. Something easy. Soon enough, the daylight will be coming, and we want to deal with you, zombie. So, for now, go kill yourself, which you are now. Ha! Good timing. So, while I'm building this, I figured it was a good time to start talking about something that I've never talked about in my videos. I haven't really had any. I've been scared to say this, and just because it's personal, not uber personal, but I want to sort of talk about myself. My YouTube name is Typhus Infinity, but my real name is actually Jackson. Short, most people call me Jack, so if you watch this video, you can call me whatever the hell you want, but I prefer Jack. So, anyways, I am 23 years old. I am from a suburb of nation's capital, Washington, D.C., called Waldorf, Maryland. And I have two passions in my life. One, well, I guess I don't know. I won't say that I have this many passions. I'll just say things I love to do. I love to game. Obviously, since I am a purely gaming channel, I won't do anything else other than gaming and let's plays. So that is pretty much established. Number two, I'm a musician. You've heard the intro to Spellbound Caves. I play guitar, I play bass, I play keyboards, I sing. The only thing I really don't do is play drums, because I'm not a very good drummer. I'm not terrible at it, but I've never had a kit to play, so I can't play my own drums as a practice way of practicing. But my preferred genres are metal, rock, and specifically death metal. Death metal is, some people look at me and like, what? You like death metal? You don't really look like the guy who likes death metal. Well, I don't know. If you'd see me, you might think differently, but I've got the long hair and everything, and I wear black all the time, and I'm one of the nicest guys people know, and sometimes people get a little like frightened, not frightened, but they just get a little weirded out that this guy that they've known for however long, or this guy that looks at them and they're like, this really nice guy's like, oh, this guy likes death metal. I don't really understand that, but it comes with a certain hatred to like death metal. You have to have that certain appreciation for music and a certain hatred too, because there's a lot of anger in death metal. And the reality is, yeah, I'm an angry person, but I don't show it. So instead of going out shooting everybody, I focus most of my hatred into my own music. It's a healthy, it's what's called healthy anger, I guess you could call that. I might as well just take this entire stack of wood by myself. I don't know. There's something about death metal that my best friend got me into it. I've always liked thrash bands like Megadeth, and I used Metallica here and there when they were good. If you like metal and you like if you're listening, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But Slayer's another good band. I really started listening to metal when, well, I guess the first ever band I really listened to was Three Doors Down. They're a good southern styled like alternative rock band from somewhere, but I got into them, and then Linkin Park was the next band. They were more newish alternative, and I'm trying to look at my CD collection and see if what else I have. So, excuse me if you're watching this and my camera's doing something weird. Let's see. I can't really see from here, but it these early bands led me into bands like Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath was the one who really said, "Wow, this rock music, this metal is hard driving and full of such power and raw emotion that I just said, wow, this is the music that I want to listen to for as long as I must do." Now, after I studied most of the subgenres of metal, I realized that, well, this death metal stuff, at least at first I said this, it's just too, I can't understand anything they're saying, and they're just like, everything's just too loud and noisy, and I'm not sure if I like this, it's too fast. And then, I started developing a taste for thrash bands like Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, and I listened to those all the time. And then I realized that, that even though they're playing fast, they weren't they were, at the time, it was really ballsy thing to do, and really, playing those fast music was really hard to do. But then I realized that, wow, I started out on trumpet in 5th grade, which would make me about 10 or 11 maybe, and I've been playing music ever since in whatever form that I've decided to play it in. But when I really understood that, wow, this music is, not only, is it, fast, but it's also, in certain cases, it's very, very melodic. You have to really listen to the backing guitars and the bass and the drums, and you have to understand that, I'm out of wood. I can still cut Hawk and bone mealies up. So, you really have to understand that every note, the faster they play and the more clean they can get it, the more musicianship's going to show up. There's a lot of bands who, in the early days were a little, like, rough. Like, my favorite band of all time is Death, and they were considered the first death metal band out there. They were, at the time, the most evil thing out there, and they played the fastest, and all their songs were about zombies and gore and killing your sister, and maybe not really killing your sister, but something like that. And to me, they were... Did I get a big tree again? I really hope I didn't. Yes, I got a big tree. I hate big trees. Let me just grab my way up under there and start chopping down from there. But anyways, they were, quite frankly, when I discovered them was when I really understood the idea of melody in this kind of music. Because before then, I was just listening to... I wasn't really listening to, but only real bands I listened to were like the early death metal, like Cannibal Corpse and Suffocation and all these, bands that you would consider, I wouldn't say bad, but, stuff that would be hard to listen to for a first-time listener. But listening to their later albums, Death's later albums, I've understood that they're just, there's such a level of musicianship and guitar work, and everything just blends so well together on those albums. It's amazing, in my opinion. This is one of those things. I've never heard anyone in Minecraft really talk about music before. And since I'm such a dedicated musician, I figured that this would probably be the right time to start talking about it. But, what do I need an axe. Excuse me, I need an axe. Does anybody have an axe? And my shenanigans. In my beard. Right. To really get death metal, you have to have a certain level of insanity in your brain, and a certain level of understanding that, it's not all, it doesn't have to be poppy, it doesn't have to be catchy. There's a lot of death metal that is catchy, but there's so much more out there. Death metal is, it's one of those things where, like, you can't, there's subgenres of subgenres of subgenres in metal, and it's the same with most music, but for the most part, it's, I don't know, when I listen to pop, it's pop. It's never like, oh, trance pop, hypno, techno, rap, uh, sublime go-go or reggae, and it's not. It doesn't translate that well with me. But when I listen to the subgenres of metal and all other kinds of metal, it's I can say, well, I can see where this riffs come from, but I see where this drum beats come from, and they can all just meld so well into each other. It's amazing. I mean, another really good band, a really good death metal band is probably musically, technically, melodically, they have some of their stuff is a bit gimmicky, I'll admit, but their level of playing is so out there and so like their level of speed too is just insane. They're Nile from South Carolina, or their drummer is probably one of the fastest people on the planet, yet somehow he can still hold a groove on his own if he needs to. And their guitarists are just in a whole another level than anybody else. But the reality is that I could ramble on about death metal all day because it's what's helped me with my anger issues and my own self just discovery issues that I've had for the past 10 years of my life, because the past 10 years have not been easy on me. I am an optimist. I will say that as bad as I'm doing, there's always someone out there who's doing worse, and I'm not gonna be a total ass and say, well, oh, fuck this, I'm the worst, I'm the one who gets torn down every day because he has carpal tunnel and his, no, I don't have carpal tunnel, but it's just that I'm just thinking of something to say, and his left wrist. And no, I totally think that everyone has an opportunity to be, in the gutter or totally screwed by somebody that wants, I don't know, it's, like I said, metal is, to my opinion, my favorite genre of music, and it's where I will go always to make sure, that I'm losing my train of thought here. This happens way too often. I think it's probably because I'm freaking hungry, but just having, I mean, if you can't listen to metal, I'm not trying to force feed, you should listen to metal because it's the best fucking genre out there. It's the only fucking genre. I'm not a supremacist like, some people can be, but it just, like, listen to, let's see, I'm trying to think of a good recent album that would work well. Well, I'll give you a good example. There's an artist, Canadian artist, believe it or not. His name is Devin Townsend. If you do not like death metal, which I guess he didn't really do straight up death metal, he did more of a crossover of thrash and, extreme with a little bit of death metal in here in his most well-known project, which is Strapping Young Lad. And, he got a little disillusioned by that because originally he decided to have that, he had the idea of basically telling everyone, the music industry in particular, to go fuck themselves, because I'll admit the music industry now is just screwy, and it's a place where someone who basically has little to no talent can be picked up. Someone who has a good face and even just a half decent voice can be picked up by a record producer. They can take, like, I won't name any examples just to help, not, I don't want to anger anybody by any means, but no, that's not where that goes. Alright, so let's do this. No, let's not do that. They can take anybody in the any kid that can do something that just looks good, and they'll give him music that he didn't write, but they'll call it his song or whatnot, and they'll just totally they'll give him millions and millions of dollars, not millions, but all this money to just basically be their little like toy, essentially, so they can make money off of that person, whoever that person may be. And it's a very unfortunate world that we live in, that we have to, be fed. This is why this partially, like, the music industry, in my opinion, killed itself. A lot of people blame downloading and um, file sharing as the death of the current music industry, but quite frankly, that doesn't seem to be the case to me, because, it's one of those things. It's like, I'll quote Gabe Newell of Valve. I really like this quote. If I can remember it off the top of my head, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to, but I can at least say that there is. What did he say? What did Gabe Newell say? He said illegal. Basically, he said illegal downloading isn't about. Sorry, cut off there. Let me find this really quick, because I just want to remember exactly what he said. Alright, I found it. And basically it says, piracy is almost always a service problem and not a pricing problem. I mean, it's, I don't know, it's kind of like, maybe it doesn't pertain exactly to the example I'm trying to make, but having the music industry just pumping out these preteen idiots who can't really, without having some kind of help from somebody, and they make so much money compared to the people who are out there touring their asses off, killing themselves, not self-destructively, but because they're working so hard. And just to barely make a living. I mean barely, because you ask anyone who's ever had to be on the road for any period of time, and they'll tell you that it's just hell, because you got to deal with food costs and gas costs, and sometimes you won't get paid just because the guy at your last gig was a dick and decided that your band was wasn't good enough, and then you can't really fight that because you need to hire somebody to fight him, and it's just like, it's a mess. It's a real hot mess, because the music, even the music, like, I don't know, it's music. I can't really talk about this too much, because it's, of course, as you said, I can't talk about this too much, but I'm already talking about it too much, but it's, the industry is failing, and just like the U.S. economy is failing, and the only real way to do this is by to save it, in my opinion, is to put it back into the artist's hands. We won't ever have the Beatles ever. We will never, I'm not saying, we will never have an artist like the Beatles again, at least popular. It's very hard to find someone nowadays who's interested in making the music they love, and someone that's extremely commercially viable to a producer. Nowadays it's the producer. This really, if you look at music history, this really started in the 70s, when people like Phil Spector, that asshole who got jailed time for, I guess he killed someone, but he basically, he decided that taking groups of girl singers, this was back in the day, I'm not gonna diss these singers because they did get successful, but instead of having them have creative control of music, he gave it to himself and did all this bullcrap that basically said that the groups of disco, I guess 70s singers that were there wouldn't get nearly anything of what he was making, so it ended up being just a bunch of bullcrap. So, and you are going to die because you scare me, because you're on my house. You're following me, aren't you? You're tracking me. Oh God. anyways, I guess I'm gonna stop with the rant on the music industry just because I could literally talk about this thing for days because it's it's such a clusterfuck in my opinion because you I don't know. I'm just gonna stop here because I'm not gonna stop recording, but I'm going to stop my rant because everything is just an issue. But I'll talk about more of my life. I have a music project currently. It's the same music project that that was the intro to the Spellbound Games video because why because of the wonderful things he does. It's I'm just keep rambling here, man. I just gotta stop doing that. Shut up and start build. Just build. And I was also in a more like the project that I currently have is more of like a progressive output or project rather than my old band, which was more of a straight up death metal band. And the okay, just more planks. Okay. The song that's on there is called The Entity, and it was very much the first song when basically the band that I was in, we broke up not because because we were having issues with practicing, so we had to break up temporarily. I believe we're getting back together soon enough. I don't know exactly when, but we're supposed to be getting together sometime within the next couple weeks to jam, which will be nice because I've been, part of the reason why I started making these videos is because I had nothing to do. Because, when we were practicing, we were actually practicing. And now that we're practicing again, or we will be practicing again, I actually have something to do. Rather than just sit on my ass all day and then, well, I mean, like I said, the YouTube channel was there to mainly, alright, kill you, because I can. Started because having literally nothing to do all day. When I was practicing and creating music, I was doing something. But when that didn't happen, I decided, well, all these other people are doing this Minecraft stuff, so why not me? And thus, this channel was born. Well, anyways, I think I'm gonna finish up this house here, or finish up the non-essential parts. I've done most of the structural building of it, so I'll get onto the interior and the floor and all the other stuff in a second. Thanks for watching again. If you want, subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you like these kind of videos and you've liked my previous videos and you can stand my banter for long enough, because honestly I don't know how long this video has been going for. It's been going long enough for my voice to start hurting, that's for sure, which is kind of funny. But anyways, thanks a lot. Leave a like, maybe subscribe, it's up to you. And either way, you have a nice day. Bye.